Welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're making something really easy and super tasty. Welcome to A Gut Feeling, where we talk about all things related to the gut. My name is Janine and I'm sorry about all the background noise. I'm a mom, just doing life, and someone's playing with their leap pad. If you're subscribed and been following this channel, you know that the channel revolves around a specific carbohydrate diet, although I do deviate from it a little bit in some areas. But I'm doing a series of recipes on the intro part of the diet, foods that you can eat when you're starting off this diet. And now the book says that you can have meat at the beginning of the diet. It's not super specific, it just tells you beef patties and fish. But I have seen elsewhere that some people say all meat, but they have to be prepared a certain way. You can only have your meats roasted, boiled, or broiled. The reason for this being, you need your meats to be super soft so that they about fall apart. There's other ways you can do this, like use your crock pot and slow cook your meats for a long period of time. Another thing that I really like is if you can can your own meats. Canned foods are not recommended on this diet because of all the added preservatives and stuff when you buy canned stuff at the store. Speaking from my experience, if you actually would prefer canning at home and you'd like to canned chicken, it makes chicken really soft and it's a really quick snack. You can just pull off the shelf and snack on when you don't have time to make a whole lot. So those are the ways that you can do meat, but for the most part you just want to broil, boil, or roast your meats. Now before I started this diet, I actually rarely broiled meats. I didn't realize that broiling makes meat tender, but it has become my new favorite way of preparing meats because it's so fast and it's so tasty. The only thing I don't like about broiling is it tend to smoke up the house a little bit quicker and make fire alarms go off if I do it for too long amount of time. But today I'm gonna be making boneless chicken thighs for me and my son for lunch. And it is super quick. You set your oven to broil, which is 500 degrees. You want your rack to be approximately 6 to 8 inches away from the top burner. And I'll be sharing you the different times that I do different meats, but for right now, I'm gonna be showing you how I do chicken. You're going to want a broiler pan, or what I use is just like a cookie sheet, line it with tin foil to save on mess. And then I have one of these racks that you just put in there so that all the juices and stuff run to the bottom. And then pretty much all I do for seasoning is salt and pepper. You could add some other spices like garlic if you wanted, but let's go ahead and pop these in the oven. Pardon the toilet paper, we ran out of tissues. I'm just gonna pour some salt in here just so I'm not reaching into the bag with my fingers after I've touched chicken. I'm just going to do 2. For my son and I'll probably eat 1.5. I like to grind pepper on them. And then I take some salt, and I really like rubbing salt into my meat. It just makes it so tasty in my opinion. Then I like to turn it over, do the top side, and then some more pepper. And I'm gonna start by broiling them with the top side down first. Alright, I have them in the oven, and for chicken thighs, I normally do about 6 minutes per side. So I broil it for 6 minutes, flip them over 6 minutes more, and they're usually finished. I'm gonna give you different times for different meats and how I broil them. And obviously these times vary a little bit if you have thicker meat or thinner meat. But this is kind of just a rough gauge to go by, and you guys can experiment, see how you like it. So for chicken thighs, I normally do around 6 minutes per side. Chicken breast, which I haven't actually done yet, but you probably want to do more like 10 minutes or 12 minutes per side, depending how thick your chicken breasts are. And it always helps to have like a meat thermometer and just check your temperatures online, what's your safe temperature, and make sure to just take your temperature of your meat to make sure they're finished. Now beef patties are super tasty. You know, you can do like burgers, beef patties, whatever. I like rubbing them with salt and pepper, and I broil them for 8 minutes per side. And I honestly think they almost beat the grill. They are so good. I always thought that broiling would make meat sort of like hard, dried out and crispy, but it makes it tender and juicy. It is so delicious. So even if you're not following this diet, guys, you seriously need to try this. It's so fast, so easy, it's healthy, the meat is tender, it's easy to digest, so winning across all spectrums here. And then for fish fillets, you want to broil those for about 5 minutes per side. Now, I tried this actually one time. I don't know if I broiled it maybe too long, but I don't really prefer fish broiled because fish is already such a tender meat. And when you broil it, it almost becomes to the point where it's like a tasteless mush. I know I've had broiled fish in restaurants that are super tasty, so I just need to figure out the art of doing that. Maybe I'm broiling them too long. But there's kind of the general times of different various meats and how you can broil them. If you're not sure, just Google it. Usually you can find some recipe online that tells you how long to broil your meat. This is almost finished, and I'm gonna go ahead and flip it. I forgot to spray this. I should have sprayed it before I put the chicken on. Spray with like oil or pan. Put this back in. I'll show you the meat when it's finished, but if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. It really helps us out. Subscribe if you haven't. Hit the bell button so you're notified whenever I release new videos. By the way, if you're still confused about the diet, I made a video which I'll link here and have in the description that talks about the SCD diet and why I chose that. And I'll have links in the description to the video I made about the intro part of the diet as well. But one thing I allowed from the get-go was honey, because it was included in one of the recipes on the intro diet, so I just assumed I could have it. Another thing I allowed that was never mentioned was mustard. I figure that's pretty harmless. I believe most mild spices, if they're in their whole plain form, are fine. And so a really good addition to this chicken is honey mustard. So all you need to do is mix equal parts of honey and mustard, pour it on top of your chicken, and you have an incredible meal. So I've moved beyond the intro diet right now. I've allowed a few more things into my diet. One of the first foods I introduced was butternut squash, and I found that I could tolerate that well. So today for lunch, I'm going to have tender chicken with honey mustard and a side of butternut squash. It's a really good lunch to have, very quick and easy to make. And I'm telling you guys, if you haven't tried broiling meat, give it a try. You'll be surprised how wonderful it tastes. All right, let's cut into this, see how it looks. Mmm, tasty. Mmm. That is so good. Guys, you really need to try this chicken recipe. I've got my chicken with some squash and a glass of my apple cider. I wouldn't say that's too bad of a meal for a pretty strict diet, right? Anyway, I'm gonna enjoy my food. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye. And also honey mustard. Dipping your chicken in honey mustard. Oh. Such a good meal.